Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Freedom, Flexibility, and Finances. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with your host, Peter Weller. Pete, what's up, man?
Chris, I'm having a fabulous day. What's up with you?
Well, what's up with me is I'm going to interview you right now on what it is to be a good salesperson or good selling. So we have not outlined any talking points for this. And so I'm excited. This is like we're shooting from the hip, and I just can't wait to see what comes out of your mouth on this conversation. So can I begin?
Absolutely. Let's get after this. This sounds like fun.
Let's begin. So I think for anybody in business, selling is an important skill, but I feel like you have some unique perspectives about selling. So I just kind of want to unpack some of that. What would you say, regardless of, I mean, most of the listeners of this will be real estate agents, but across all disciplines of selling, business to business, business to consumer, and all the other stuff, door knocking, cold calling, all that. What is the number one common thread that makes good sales in all of that?
Well, I think it's a mathematical equation when we get down to it. And what we're looking when we jump into sales and when we jump into being that solo entrepreneur or entrepreneur is we're looking for a result.
Yeah.
And if we can figure out the result of how to get 100% of our income from it, we know that the other two pieces, if we put it together, we can figure out how to make it happen. Wouldn't you like to have a mathematical formula to figure out how to do sales?
Yeah. Do you have that?
It's a mathematical formula. It's
Okay.
intention plus mechanism equals results. So, for example, I'm a business coach.
Yep.
I'm a real estate agent. I've sold alarm systems. I've sold vacuum cleaners. We've sold phone systems. It's all the same. We have a product or a service that we sell, and that's the mechanism for us to make money, which making the money is the result or our finances.
Yep.
So it comes down to intention. So how much of your result is intention? 100% of it is your intention. So the mechanism has 0% to do with your results.
So unpack that for me a little bit. What do you mean by intention?
Intention. You intend to make money. You intend to take care of a client. You intend to do something great with this product or this service. You intend to support your family off of it. What fails most of the time is people are getting caught up in the how-to and whatnots.
Yeah.
You know, the whatchamacallits, how's it work? And the fact of the matter is if you have to put food on the table, you have to get in front of people.
Yeah.
And when you get in front of people, we've referred to that as prospecting. And when you go from prospecting, you got to get face-to-face for your initial consults, your data gathering, and then you have to present your product or services, and then you have to close.
Right.
And if you don't have the intention of doing all of that right up front, go flip burgers.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this question. There's always an intention no matter what the activity is we're doing. So for those that are doing the how do I do it and getting lost in the details of it, what's their, even if their intention is a default intention, what's their intention?
Right. So let's break it down this way. So we've got prospecting.
Yeah.
What do we have to do when we prospect? We have to have a mechanism to prospect. A lot of us use the phone.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So what is the phone good for when you're prospecting? It's good for getting directions and setting the appointment.
Getting directions? What do you mean?
Getting directions. How do I get from where I'm at to your house? How do I get in front of you?
Got it. Okay. Got it.
Who do I need to talk to?
Right.
You're getting directions on where you need to take it to.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So you don't sell. The intention of the first call is prospecting to set an appointment. That's the intention. A lot of people are trying to get to the closing.
Yeah.
Because they're hungry. They're getting in the process.
Okay.
You got to trust the process and follow the process.
Okay.
So my intention is to get to closing or to get to contract.
Right.
Yet I've got to start with prospecting, so I've got to break it down. So my intention is to get a face-to-face.
Okay. So let me see if I'm understanding so far. So most people, if I'm understanding you, we get into business for ourselves and into sales, and our immediate intention goes to money or the result. We go like, I want a closing or I want to sell a thing, but we're jumping the gun. Our intention's off. Our intention needs to actually be, I need to get to the next step of this process. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. So
Okay.
the closing or the contract is the result.
Yeah.
The intention is the process,
Okay.
and the mechanism is where you're at. So when we break it down,
Okay.
let's break it down further. What's your purpose at an initial consult? I want to see if I want to do business with you from a salesperson to a client.
Yeah.
And you as a client are wanting to see if you want to do business with me and purchase my products or services.
Right.
Okay. Yet I've got to understand what your needs are, because I might not be able to fulfill it.
Right.
Or I might not be thinking the right product. So we have to go there in a non-judgmental place. So, what's the intention of each particular meeting? So what we do is we map it out.
Yeah.
So we know what the intention looks like from start to finish. And then we have to put it on our calendar to be able to time block or time bend, or be able to use our time the most productive.
Yeah.
Because when you try to shift gears in the mind through the sales process, naturally we don't do it.
Like,
So
what do you
if
mean
you
shift gears in the mind process? What do you mean?
Yeah, so shifting gears. So prospecting is a different mindset than information gathering.
Okay. Okay.
Information gathering is a different skill set than presenting a proposal.
Right.
And presenting a proposal is different than closing, yet they're still mixed.
And
When
so
you
where does
present
that
a
break
proposal,
down?
you want to make sure that you take care of all their needs.
Got it. And you're saying that breaks down how?
That breaks down with different intention. So when I present a proposal, I want to make sure that I'm covering all of your needs and that you have a great understanding of it.
Right. And time bending or calendaring helps me segment those different processes?
It allows you to get into the energy flow of the mindset of those particular things. So when we look at calendaring or time management or time bending, whatever you want to call it, is the allocated time that we work in that mind space to be able to manage the process so that we can look at the mechanism and see what's happening throughout it and manage our intentions based off of results. Okay. So intention, prospecting, we get on the phone, we set so many appointments. We know the results. We make X amount of phone calls and we get X amount of appointments.
Yep.
That's step one. Step two, we turn around and we know if we go on X amount of appointments, we will present a certain number of proposals. And then when we present proposals, we know that we'll close a certain amount of deals. Each one of them has a different set of skills. Each one of them has a different amount of time on task.
Yep.
And each one of them has a different end result. And if we manage that throughout, or experimentation. So if you get really good at setting appointments and then you cannot close to get a proposal, we got to work on that skill set. So the first thing that we do is not worry about the closing. We worry about your skill set about getting in front of people.
Got it. Okay. So back to intention, like the intention is I'm going to go get an appointment. Like that is the first step in the sales process, the sales cycle. And so my intention is set on not trying to understand Facebook ads, not trying to understand, a good listing presentation. Right now, it's just, can I get somebody to say, yes, please talk to me about selling my house or whatever?
Yeah. Let's just break it down in the real estate, because that's most of our audience that's watching, tuning into this.
Yeah. Is
the first thing that we have to do is get you in the door. Because the National Association of Realtors say that 86% of the people hire the first real estate agent through the door.
Yeah.
Just get through the door.
Yeah.
The odds are there for you. So get through the door. And then the rest of it is skill set.
Let's stay there for a second. What are some of the ways that you find the most effective to get to an appointment? If an agent listening to this is like, I want to get more appointments, what's the best way to do that?
Well, it depends on the dollar amount, right? So if we go off of a $0 budget to be able to get in front of clients, so we have to get creative, right? And that creative comes back to, old school, family, friends, sphere, strangers, right?
Through means of like prospecting or networking or
face to face, belly to belly. So we can do it on the phone. We can do it by going out to lunches or cups of coffee with people. We can do it by being social. A lot of people get their license and then they become a secret agent. They don't talk about it. Well, you know, and my philosophy is post enough on social media that they know what you do. Wear your branding so they know what you do. And then have conversations, but don't give away all your information.
Have a conversation like what? Yeah, like how would I, if let's say you and I are belly to belly and I'm and you're the agent, how, like what would you, how would you get into that conversation with me?
So one of the most common things that people want to know is how's the market?
That is super common. If you're a real estate agent and people know you're a real estate agent, they're like, hey, so how's real estate? How's the market?
Yeah. So what do we do as a person that's focused on our closing? All of a sudden we're thrown up to them. Hey, you know, I'd love to show you exactly what's going on in the market. What I'd like to do is schedule an appointment to sit down with you and talk to you exactly what's going on. Are you thinking about buying or selling?
And that's what most people do, but what we should not do.
Yeah, well, that right there is what we should do.
Oh, that's what we should do.
What most people do is, it's a buyer, you know, it's an extreme seller's market right now. If you're thinking about listing, you should list your home and you should list your home with me. But you don't even have the rapport to be able to ask them that question yet.
Right.
So you need to dive in and set an appointment.
Okay. So instead, in the value in the appointment, so the value to me as the homeowner, let's say, for meeting with you is what? Learning about the market, and
we talk about what it's going to, you know, so we have to get more information before we start telling them about the market, because we don't know if they're buying or selling, because that's two different strategies.
Right.
We don't know if they're an investor. We don't know if they're trying to sell their grandma's place or their cousin's place, or if they're looking for a second home. We don't know. So we need more questions. And we're professionals. Yet we show up and we end up just bearing all and not getting an appointment and actually providing valid information.
Okay, that's good. So let's go there for a second, because I think I've done this a ton. Like if I find somebody, if I'm in a conversation with somebody, and my style is more in person, so I don't pick up the phone and call people. So if I were meeting somebody for coffee and we got into, hey, how's the market? I'm like, oh, the market's great. And I'll tell them more about the market. And I say, maybe I'll say, are you thinking about buying or selling? They'd be like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, great. And then I'll start consulting right there and then. But it sounds like what you're saying is, because we're professionals, we should actually set a separate appointment.
Yeah, let me ask you, when was the last time you talked to a dentist about doing tooth work in the line at Starbucks?
Yeah, no, that didn't happen.
Right. Well, and could you have met them there? Absolutely. Do they talk about their profession there?
No.
They don't have enough information to be able to tell you what needs to go on on the inside of your mouth until they take a look at it. We don't have enough information to be able to help you out with whatever you're trying to accomplish. So we need to focus on setting the appointment when we're out in public. So our intention is to set the appointment. So when we go to social things, we're not closing, we're setting our intention of meeting one or two people we want to connect with.
Got it. Okay. So in that, I like this scenario that we're in. So I'm at an event or I'm having coffee and the topic comes up. The real estate market, maybe selling, comes up. But all I'm looking for is, as the agent, is, well, are you thinking about selling? Yeah, I am. I'll be like, that's awesome. Like the market's really hot right now, but let's do this. Like, let's actually, if you really want to have a conversation of what you need to do to sell in this market, we should probably meet and talk about that.
Absolutely.
And then just move to that conversation, right? Rather than like meander. And
ask some more questions.
Okay.
You know, the object here is to pique the curiosity, set the appointment, move on.
So in other words, ask enough questions to where the appointment becomes the logical next step.
Yep.
Okay, good. That's good, because I think a lot of people would actually just try to do, like you said, do it all in that one conversation rather than actually setting the appointment. And then they leave that coffee appointment without any real clear next step. It's like, so now you follow up in a week and you never set a clear next step. And you're like, hey, I really liked your conversation at coffee. Do you want to talk some more about it? And now it's actually weirder.
Yeah, because they've got the ball.
Yeah.
We're playing a game and they've got the ball. So you want to control the game. The only way you control the game is keep the ball.
Right.
The second one, intention. How many times have you walked, that, hey, I'm thinking about selling a house, or how's the market? Oh, it's wonderful. And you puke and you say, here's my card, call me.
Yeah.
How many times has somebody called you off of a business card?
Yeah, that's a rookie mistake for sure.
How many hundreds of thousands of business cards have you handed out without a phone call? I can yet, 27 years of being an outside salesperson and a realtor, I can count how many times on one hand that somebody called me off my business card for business.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, like, so funny. Yeah. Right. Do you have certain questions that you like to ask people on the phone or in person that kind of lead into the asking for an appointment?
Well, the first thing that we have to do is we have to do what's called a pattern interrupt.
Okay.
So that we can get them off asking questions of us so that we can ask questions of them.
Okay.
So, for example, how's the market?
It's great.
Depends on what price range you're in. I need to know more information.
Good. Yes, that's awesome.
Okay.
Yep.
Another one, when we're out in public in those settings, hey, what do you do for a living? Mm-hmm. We've got a pattern interrupt because we don't have enough information to be able to answer that question. Because, are they a buyer? Are they a seller? Are they an investor? Could we connect them? Do they just need their carpets cleaned? What's their current need?
Yeah.
So,
how do I answer that?
I'm a people connector.
A people connector.
I'm a people connector.
And then they'll say, what does that mean?
Well, normally you get it out. I'm a people connector. What I need to know is a little bit more about you. What do you do?
Oh, got it. Okay.
So it positions me to be able to allow me to ask the questions.
Yeah.
And who likes to talk? Everybody likes to talk about themselves. So if we can get them asking, answering questions about themselves, they'll give up everything.
I think so. To pause on that for a second, I think so. I think there's a certain level of finesse that comes with developing that skill, because otherwise your pattern interrupt could feel like
it could feel like a baseball bat across the forehead.
Have you seen Crazy Stupid Love?
Not in a while.
With Steve Carell. Like, it's so perfect because in that there's a scene where like he's the guy, Ryan Gosling's teaching him how to be like this, like, guy that picks up girls but he's not that kind of guy. So he's trying to teach him and he's like, no, always ask them the questions. And so this teacher is in the bar, and I'm going in this long story. This teacher's in the bar and she's like, so what do you do, Cal? And he's like, no, what do you do? Like,
I do remember that.
She's like, well, I think I asked you first. And he's like, no, I'm not going to accept that. I'm going to ask you. He just makes this really weird experience for her.
Yeah. So it can be awkward, and that's that experimentation. So sometimes we've got to figure out what to say, and most importantly, what not to say.
Yeah.
And remember, in selling at each one of these stages or each one of these phases, that if you don't have a script or some sort of comeback memorized, if you're not on your script, you're on their script. And script are the words that we choose and things that we know that are work. So using pattern interrupts are things that we need to practice in a safe environment. And that's why coaches work with you on role plays, and it's good to be in masterminds to be able to work out what to say when somebody asks you this, or what's the lineage. It keeps that muscle of the mind active and exercised.
It's interesting that you say that. It almost brings in another piece of, like, I think mastering the sales process, and that's practice. And I just think people don't practice. Like, I remember as a new agent, I literally would I had a book of scripts, and I found the one. I didn't use them all. I didn't like most of them. I found the ones I liked. And then I would read them. Then I would type them out from the thing, and I would type them on a computer because of the process of typing it out.
The kinesthetic approach of learning.
Yep. And then I would try to memorize it. I'd be like, okay, I'd scroll my screen up so I couldn't see it. I'd be like, let me try to remember what the first sentence was. And I'd try to type that out. And I'd make myself remember what they were until I had, and it didn't take me long. I think people think, oh, it's going to take me months, but it only takes an hour maybe to really dial it in.
Script practice. How often do we do it? Should be doing it about an hour a day.
Let's just be real. 99.9% of people don't do script practice.
Correct. But the good agents, the top 10% do.
Yeah. Okay. 90%. And then the top 10 do. Fine.
Well, and when you look at the top 10%, how many are we really dealing with?
Right.
And then after a certain point, they've got the main 5 objections handled, 7 different ways. Yep. So when it's thrown up in front of them, it comes off smooth. So I challenge people, memorize the ones you like and memorize the ones that you don't. Internalize them. And what happens is when somebody throws that objection, the natural will show up. Your intention will show up.
Do you have a good resource for scripts?
YouTube, Google.
Okay.
I mean, just dive into it. For a real estate agent, it's diving into it. For business owners, you need to take some courses around neuro-linguistic programming, because that's what a script is, which is the way that we say words and the words that we choose to use to cause people to go into different parts of their mind.
Got it. Cool. Okay. Yeah. If you're a real estate agent, first of all, start with a Google search. Right. It's just a ton of stuff that's been out for a long time, and it's good stuff. And then, like I said, find the stuff you like and discard everything else, because I've seen a lot of agents be given scripts that they don't like. And then they take that and they go, I didn't like this, so I don't like scripts. And then they don't do any script practice because they think all scripts are slimy, cheesy, not a fit, whatever.
Well, one of my favorite scripts comes from being a team leader. Mm-hmm. And you would work through the math, you would get all the way to the end, and there was a certain amount of dollars that was going to their previous brokerage, where if they moved from one brokerage to another, they would actually put that money into their pocket. Mm-hmm. And so the script and the whole process of it is, look, you've got a $50,000 check in front of you right now.
Yeah.
You've got your broker on your left, and you've got your family on your right.
Yeah, it's good.
It looks like it's your decision to make. And that's awesome. What is that? If you break it down, that's just simply words. Yet when we pull it all the way apart, what's happening? Well, in our memories and on timelines that we've seen as a culture, the past is on the left and your future is on the right.
Yeah. So
the natural timeline that we just painted in the picture subconsciously is they see the timeline that they have to make the shift for their family. Mm-hmm. So you emotionally tied it to it. Yet if you never practice that script and you just read it a couple of times, as soon as you went to say it, you would flub it. And that person would think you're an idiot and you're over.
Okay. And this is so good, because what happens, I've seen it not only with other people I coach, people I've been in this industry for 17 years. I've not only seen it out there, but I have seen it in myself. And that is, we will try it for a little bit. And then if we don't practice it enough, or we don't like it, we go looking, we distract ourselves by looking for other answers. Like, oh, well, maybe it's Facebook ads. I've had clients, they ask me, hey, well, what else should I be doing? And I'll say, right. I'll say, well, have you been practicing the thing I gave you? Well, no. I'm like, well, how many people have you used it with in the last 2 weeks? Nobody.
How do you know it works? You got to get into experimentation.
Yeah.
I challenge most new agents, take 1,000 business cards, and I want you to go out and you're going to deliver 1,000 business cards in your first 2 weeks. And here's your script. This is what you're going to say to every stranger that you see. You're going to walk up, hand them a card, and say, you don't know anybody looking for real estate, do you? Totally negative script, and walk away. This was done with an insurance company back in the late 70s, early 80s.
No way.
Yeah. You ready for this? Same closing numbers as if you actually had a well-prepared script.
What?
Yeah. So it comes down to, if you're actually
That's crazy.
in activity, which is your intention, it doesn't matter the mechanism. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you're selling. It matters your intention of getting out and meeting people. You'll set appointments. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So, set your intention to go out and meet people and set appointments. And then the rest, just start working on your skill set so that you're prepared when that time comes.
That's good, man. We went down a crazy path just now. We went from intention all the way down to really practical, pragmatic scripts. I love it. I love it. Well, Pete, I mean, that's probably a good place to stop because I feel like that's a complete sentence. Like there was value in the intention piece of it. And then there's value all the way down to like, just there, you don't need to learn more stuff sometimes. You just need to go practice.
Just go do.
Practice and
Go
do.
get bored doing. You know, there's industry leaders out there that say, are you bored? And if the answer is no, well, you haven't mastered what you're really doing yet. So go get some mastery.
Yeah.
Likewise, who's going to hold you accountable during that process, or who's
Yeah.
going to teach you how to hold yourself accountable?
Yeah.
That's where getting a good coach and
Yep.
a good mentor
Yeah.
and somebody that's not afraid to call you on
Yeah.
your bullshit
Yeah.
of not doing the activities before you're broke, before you're going back and flipping burgers.
Yep. Yeah. In fact, Pete, I know you've got some great value or options or packages for coaching. How do people find out about working with you as a coach?
Well, let's put it this way. There's a couple of ways that you can find information. Number one, friend me on Facebook. Simply
Yep.
send me a message saying, hey, I'm interested
Yeah.
in what coaching looks like.
Yep.
I'm not going to sell you on anything. We're just going to have a conversation around where you're at and what's going on in your business, because
Yeah.
I may not be the right fit for you.
Right.
Likewise, you may not need a coach right now. You might just need time on task and just get settled into that. So let's go the friend on Facebook. You can also schedule a 15 or 30-minute call with me at www.kindalikepete. Scroll down a little bit. You'll find my online calendar and set it up, and I'll be there.
Perfect. I love it, Pete. Thanks, man. You're a deep dude, and I like that about you. You've got all this industry experience and perspective around what works because of the way that you've experimented and done stuff, and I like that. So
Absolutely.
thanks for sharing today. We'll catch you next time.
Sounds good.